Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself staring out the window, wondering what your life will look like when you're no longer working? Maybe you've spent decades building a career, raising a family, showing up day after day, and now, retirement is just around the corner. Exciting, right? But let's be honest, it can also feel a little terrifying. What will you do with all that time? Who will you be without your job title? And how do you even begin to prepare for something that lasts 20, maybe even 30 years? If you're in your 50s, 60s, or even early 70s, now is the perfect time to take a breath and start thinking differently about this next chapter of your life. Because retirement isn't just the end of work, it's the start of something new. And today, I want to help you feel a little more confident, a little more ready, and a lot more optimistic about what's ahead. So let me break this down for you. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 powerful shifts that can make your transition into retirement feel less overwhelming and a lot more fulfilling. And no, this isn't about stock tips or magic numbers. It's about real-life mindset changes that can help you thrive emotionally, socially, and personally, no matter what your financial situation looks like. Ready? Let's dive in. 1. Ease into it. Don't slam on the brakes. So here's the thing about retirement that nobody really talks about. Going from full-time work to full-time freedom isn't always relaxing. It can actually feel like whiplash. Imagine driving on the highway at 70 miles an hour and then slamming on the brakes. That's what it can feel like when your structured 9 to 5 suddenly disappears overnight. It sounds good in theory, until day 3 rolls around and you're pacing the kitchen wondering what you're supposed to do now. This isn't just boredom, it's identity shock. When you've spent decades being the teacher, the engineer, the manager, and suddenly that disappears, you might start to feel a little lost. Like part of you went missing. I had a client named Frank, worked in logistics for 38 years. When he retired, he thought he'd be golfing, traveling, finally relaxing. But by week 2, he told me, "I feel useless. I don't know who I am without work." That's not unusual. It's actually very human. So what's the fix? If you can, give yourself a soft landing. Don't rush into a packed schedule, but also don't go from full to zero. Take a few months, what I like to call your buffer period. Travel a little, sleep in. Don't make any big commitments right away. Let your brain and your heart adjust to the new pace. It's like adjusting to a new climate. You don't just throw off your coat in the middle of winter and expect to feel great. You ease in. The goal here isn't productivity, it's recovery. Think of it as catching your breath after running a very long race. 2. Fill your days with purpose, not just activity. Now let me ask you this. Are you planning to stay busy in retirement? Because I hear that a lot. People say, "I just want to keep myself busy." But here's what I've learned over the years. Being busy and being fulfilled are not the same thing. You can fill your calendar with appointments, classes, errands, and still feel like something's missing. That's because humans don't just need movement. We need meaning. I'll give you an example. A woman named Denise I spoke with used to run a small nonprofit. She retired at 64 and immediately started volunteering at 3 different charities just to stay busy. But 6 months in, she felt drained and even a little resentful. Why? Because she didn't stop to ask, what actually gives me joy now? What do I truly want to give my time to? So before you sign up for everything under the sun, pause. Ask yourself, what makes me feel useful? What gets me out of bed excited? Not just occupied. Maybe it's mentoring someone younger. Maybe it's painting, gardening, joining a walking group. Or maybe it's just having slow, rich conversations over coffee. It doesn't have to be world-changing. It just has to matter to you. And if you're not sure where to start, keep a journal for a week. Write down the moments in your day that feel light, energizing, meaningful. That's where your purpose lives now. 3. Reinvest in the people who matter most. One of the biggest gifts of retirement? You finally have time, not just to do things, but to reconnect with people. And I don't mean just family dinners and birthday calls. I mean really investing in your relationships. Because let's face it, when you were working full-time, raising kids, juggling bills, sometimes the most important people in your life got the leftover time. Now's your chance to change that. I remember talking with Robert, a retired police officer. For most of his career, he was working nights, missed a lot of milestones with his kids, didn't really talk much with his brothers. When he retired at 62, he made it his mission to call one person he cared about every single week. He told me, "It's the best thing I've done with my time." I'm not just reconnecting. I'm healing parts of my life I didn't even realize needed attention. And studies actually back this up. Strong social ties don't just make you happier, they keep you healthier. Better memory, longer life, lower risk of depression. But here's the catch. These relationships take time and attention. You might need to be the one who reaches out first. You might need to forgive, or show up, or simply say, "Hey, I've missed you." So ask yourself, who have you been meaning to catch up with? Who brings out your best self? That might be a sibling, a neighbor, your spouse, or an old friend from high school. This chapter of your life doesn't have to be walked alone. You get to choose your circle and nurture it on purpose. All right, let's take a pause here. So far, we've talked about easing into retirement with a soft landing, filling your time with purpose, and reconnecting with people who matter most. In the next part, we're going to dig even deeper. I'll show you how to avoid one of the biggest regrets retirees face, and why tapping into your curiosity and creativity might just be the key to staying young at heart. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let me know in the comments, what's been the hardest part for you to imagine about retirement? Or if you're already retired, what surprised you most? And hey, if this video is giving you something to think about, take a second to like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more real talk retirement advice made just for you. So, we've already covered how to ease into retirement without feeling like you've slammed on the brakes, how to replace busyness with genuine purpose, and how to reconnect deeply with the people who matter most. Now let's get into something even more personal. Because if you've made it this far, chances are you're someone who wants this next stage of life to be more than just time passing. You want it to mean something. And that brings us to the fourth shift. 4. Listen to that quiet voice inside you. Have you ever had a little whisper in the back of your mind, something telling you to try that class, write that story, take that road trip? But then life got in the way, and you told yourself, maybe someday. Well, my friend, retirement is someday. And that voice, it's still there. Maybe quieter now, maybe a bit unsure, but it's not gone. Let me tell you about Clara. She was a school principal for 30 years. When she retired, everyone thought she'd volunteer in education or mentor young teachers. But you know what she really wanted to do? Learn how to play the cello. She said to me, "I kept hearing this little voice for years, but I always thought it was silly. Who starts an instrument at 67? She did. She didn't become a concert musician, of course. But 2 years later, she plays duets with her granddaughter, and she lights up every time she talks about music. Here's why this matters. So many people spend their early retirement doing what they think they're supposed to do, help out with grandkids, join a local committee, downsize the house. But they never stop to ask, what would I regret not doing? And I want you to really sit with that question for a minute. What's something that keeps coming up in your thoughts, over and over, that you always push aside? Maybe it's something small, like planting a rose garden. Maybe it's big, like taking a solo trip across the country. Maybe it's writing your life story so your kids and grandkids will know where they came from. Whatever it is, it's not silly. It's not too late. And it doesn't have to be perfect. All that matters is that it's true to you. And here's the thing, listening to that voice, it builds confidence. It reminds you that you're still growing, still evolving, still becoming. That's how you stay alive inside. Not just living longer, but living better. 5. Embrace your curiosity, even if it feels childlike. Let's talk about curiosity. You know, when we're kids, curiosity is just part of how we move through the world. Why is the sky blue? What happens if I mix these two colors? Can I build a fort in the backyard? But somewhere along the way, we learn to be more practical, more responsible. And by the time we hit retirement, a lot of us have forgotten how to wonder. Here's why that's a problem. Without curiosity, retirement can feel flat. Same routine, same people, same coffee shop, day in and day out. But when you bring curiosity back in, everything changes. Life starts to feel alive again. I once worked with a retired mechanic named Joe. Super practical guy. Didn't think of himself as creative at all. Then one day he told me, kind of sheepishly, I bought a watercolor set. And I said, great. What are you painting? He laughed and said, I have no idea. I just felt like trying it. That one decision opened the door to a whole new rhythm in his life. He started painting landscapes from old family photos, sent them as postcards to his friends, even joined a local art group, not because he was good, but because he was curious. That's the key. You don't need to be good at something for it to be worth your time. You just have to care, to wonder, to explore. So what's something you've always been curious about, but never had the time or the nerve to try? It could be anything. Genealogy, astronomy, bird watching, cooking a dish from your childhood, learning to speak a little Italian. You don't need a 5-year plan. You just need a little spark, a place to begin. And the beautiful thing is, curiosity doesn't age. You can be 58 or 88 and still find joy in discovering something new. So let's take a step back. Retirement isn't about doing nothing. It's not just a blank space on the calendar. It's a chance to rebuild your life on your own terms. To listen to your heart, not your alarm clock. To reconnect, reinvent, and rediscover what truly matters to you. And you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be open, willing to slow down, willing to feel a little awkward sometimes, willing to try, and maybe even fail, just like we did when we were kids. Because at the end of the day, this chapter of your life doesn't have to be smaller than the ones that came before it. It can be deeper, richer, more real. You've spent a lifetime being responsible. Now it's time to be curious. You've spent years giving to others. Now it's time to invest in yourself. And if you're not sure where to start, that's okay. Start small. Start honest. But start. And hey, if this video gave you even one idea, one moment of clarity, take a second to like it. That helps others find this too. Share it with a friend who's approaching retirement. And I'd really love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you're curious about trying in this next chapter? I read every comment. And you never know, your story might be the thing that inspires someone else to take their first step. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. You've got this. And I'll see you in the next one.